Coming up on Roland Martin Unfiltered today, of course, is Thursday, January 24th, 2019. 34 days into the partial government shutdown. Could the end be in sight? Two measures in the U.S. Senate failed to end it. Now Trump seems to be in a mood to deal. You know, the so-called deal maker. Right. Well, that is until Ann Coulter, Rush Limbaugh hear what he wants to do. We will hear from Congresswoman Marcia Fudge from Ohio talking about the shutdown, also talking the 2020 presidential primary. And speaking of that primary, Senator Bernie Sanders is out again talking about identity politics. Oh. Now, Barbara, will you please stop? My Lord, it's the show tease, Barbara. Be quiet. I got a few things to say to Bernie Sanders. Now, I've already said these things before. Now I'm going to have to say it again. And he got a problem when it comes to identity politics. All right, folks, with important parts of the government closed, important programs are in jeopardy, such as the SNAP or food stamps program. We'll talk with Janice Mathis, Executive Director of the National Council of Negro Women, about this very issue and how bad it is and how it could become. Also, we got an all-star lineup of stuck-on stupid white folks. The Commerce Secretary, Wilbur Ross, Trump's top economic advisor, Larry Kudlow, and Trump's daughter-in-law, Laura Trump, all make some dumbass comments when it comes to furloughed workers. And Bennett College is also in danger of losing their accreditation and closing its doors. Now they get a big donation from the CEO of Papa John's. We'll tell you those details. And guess what? A crazy white woman called the police on a black man for fixing his own car. That's now costing taxpayers $1.25 million in this one Illinois city. Wait until we show you the video and tell you about this story. Also, the Florida Secretary of State does not have a job as a result of blackface, and a white girl in Oklahoma is out of her sorority because of blackface as well. Y'all white folks gonna learn one day. And the Catholic bishop from Covington, Kentucky, home of all those white kids who acted a fool with the MAGA hats, he has some sharp, critical words for them when it comes to Christianity. But we know they're fake Christians. It's time to bring the funk on Roland Martin Unfiltered. Let's go.
He's got it. Whatever the miss, he's on it. Whatever it is, he's got the scoop, the fact, the find. And when it breaks, he's right on time and it's rolling. Best believe he's knowing. Putting it down from sports to news to politics. With entertainment just for kicks, he's rolling. It's on go, y'all. It's Roland Martin, yeah. Rolling with Roland now. He's funk, he's fresh, he's real, the best, you know he's Roland Martin now. Martin.
All right, folks, government shutdowns going on 34 days. And you know it's bad. You know it's a bad day for Donald Trump when the Chiron on Fox News says Trump blinks. He was referring, of course, to the standoff between him and Nancy Pelosi when it comes to the State of the Union. Now, of course, you have the Senate taking up a couple of actions on the issue of whether or not the government will reopen. Well, here's the issue there. Two bills came forward. Both of those went down in flames. I just checked a few minutes ago. Senator Chuck Schumer said they have been involved in negotiations with Mitch McConnell. Also, what happened was 6 Republicans also crossed the aisle to actually vote for what the Democrats want, that is reopening the government without an actual deal in place. And so, quite interesting. Again, 800,000 people will not get a paycheck tomorrow, but remember, there are other people involved with this government shutdown who can't get benefits. We had John Boyd on talking about those black farmers who can't get their checks, and so many other people who are being impacted as a result of this standoff, this silly standoff that exists between Republicans and Democrats, largely because of Donald Trump and his insistence, like a child, on his wall. Now, in the United States Senate, I said there were 6 senators who actually crossed the aisle to say that they support the Democrats' measure to reopen the government without that wall funding. A little bit earlier, I talked with Congresswoman Marcia Fudge of Ohio with regards to this shutdown. Here's what she had to say. All right, Congresswoman Fudge. Jay, what the hell was all of that stuff?
Everybody,
obviously wants to know, will we actually see this government reopen? You have Donald Trump, who seems to not want to run afoul of Ann Coulter, Rush Limbaugh, and Fox News. And that really, at the end of the day, is what's going on
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let me tell you what. The president could open the government today, this second. But because he's listening to Ann Coulter, to people in Congress who are on the far right of anybody that has any sense, he has now decided that that is his base, and he's going to do whatever it takes to keep that base. So the 35 to 37% of all of Americans who think that no matter what he does, he's okay, he is playing to them. Even though he said, it is my shutdown, I will own it, I will not blame anybody for it, it is my and I'll be proud to do it.
The thing that also is amazing is that Congress, have they forgotten, they can override a veto.
Absolutely.
I mean, so even if, so this whole deal of, well, he won't sign it, it's 2/3.
Mitch McConnell has been absent up until today. He has an obligation to put legislation on the floor of the Senate, and he has refused since December to put one bill in front of his caucus, in front of the Senate, to say, let's try to find a way to open up government. He has just abdicated all of his responsibility. And it's about time, even though they failed today, that is the process by which we work. We pass bills and they pass bills. You can't say, oh, I'm not going to do anything unless the president says it's okay. There are 3 branches of government. The president is only one of them. And the rest of us have a responsibility to do what we are entitled to do, what the Constitution gives us the authority to do, and to make sure that the American people know that we are fighting for them even when the White House is not.
Do you agree with Speaker Pelosi saying, nah, no speech? No speech.
Well, I absolutely do agree. How do you have a state of a government that is closed? There is no State of the Union. The State of the Union is closed. It doesn't take long to say that.
You also have an administration and different folks and how they are belittling federal workers. I mean, when you have Wilbur Ross asking the question, why are they going to food banks? I mean, just total lack of caring about people who are hurting.
It was despicable. If you remember some weeks back, the president made a comment that most people didn't even catch. He said, I'm not worried about it. Most of those people are Democrats anyway. And you remember that? What he really wanted to say is most of those people were black. Because people forget the large numbers of black people who work for the government at every level. In particular, at the federal level. And so he is not concerned because he's not concerned about people that look like you and me. He thinks we're the only poor people in the country, So I don't need to help them. It's only them.
I am. What also bothers me is it was crazy. I saw one story where there was a guy, an Iowa farmer, who said that he might lose his farm, and he goes, "Oh yeah, it's still worth the wall." I mean, and I'm sitting there going, "Really?" I mean, you literally have individuals who are part of his base who are getting destroyed, who are not getting benefits, who are getting hurt. And they're going along with the nonsense. And this is why I keep trying to explain to people that this is white fear driving all of this. It is the fear of this nation becoming black and brown.
Not only that, they believe that anybody that is not like them is undeserving of what this government can produce, what this government gives them. That's why they don't like immigrants. That's why they don't like poor people, because we are undeserving. They are the only people who deserve the American dream. And so they're fighting for it, and they don't care if they hurt themselves as long as they hurt us.
Got to ask you about the presidential candidates. Several have obviously jumped out there this week. Senator Kamala Harris. You have others who are considering it. I saw one story saying Senator Booker may soon be jumping in. What do you want these Democratic presidential candidates to be saying when it comes to an agenda, specifically for black folks? What should they be saying?
I think a couple of things. One is certainly that they're going to have to deal with the unemployment, the wealth gap in this country. They're going to have to deal with unemployment in this country. But more importantly, this is the thing that nobody thinks about anymore, Roland. A good education is a civil rights issue of our time. We live in a society now that only people who can afford a good education get one. And our young people are not going to have a chance to succeed unless they have a fair shot at a good education. So to me, that's number one. Number two, I think that they have to deal with race. We skate around it, we talk around it. They're going to have to deal with it. It's just the reality of what we are. And I think they're going to have to deal with poverty because the gap is getting bigger and bigger, and our people are suffering more and more. Not just black people, poor people. We're going to have to deal with that.
Also, I think that, I mean, obviously, we were seeing last couple of years, everyone talks about, on the Democratic side, the focus on black women. But something that happened in 2012 also happened in 2016, and that is everyone talks about the 9 or 10 point gap that existed between black men and black women. 96% or so went for, 94% or so went for Hillary Clinton. Was about 84, 85% went for Hillary Clinton. And folks like, oh my God, you know, Trump is appealing to, you know, these black men. But there was a 9 point gap with Obama and Romney.
Absolutely right.
And I keep telling people, look, you have black men who are feeling as if completely left out.
That's right.
No one's talking to us. And I've yet to see anything that is specific. In fact, I remember having a conversation it was a night at the Congressional Black Caucus dinner in 2016.
Right.
With you backstage with Hillary Clinton, with Huma and Marlon Marshall. And I said,
That's right.
y'all got a black man problem.
You did.
And they just looked at me like I was crazy. I'm like, okay, I don't understand what y'all doing. They had the mothers of the movement out there. I'm going, y'all better be having black men out here. And people acting it was no big deal. And I keep telling people that's going to be an issue.
Oh, it is. Oh, I remember very well that you said it, and it caught everybody off guard. She looked at you like, well, really? Yeah, we do have a black male problem. I don't care who the candidate is at this point. If they don't address it, they're going to have a problem. Because we have basically neglected black boys. We have not brought black men into our conversations as it relates to where we want to go as a nation. We haven't included them at the levels they should be included in as it relates to these campaigns. We have a problem. We absolutely do.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see in terms of how this thing rolls out. And then how these candidates address these issues, and I think they now know. If you're Senator Bernie Sanders, you can't ignore black people for 6 months and think I'll talk to them when they get to South Carolina and the other folks. And now those primaries have moved up. I think you're going to have a totally different presidential campaign than you've seen before, because even before Iowa votes, early voting starts in California. So the map, I think, has totally changed than in the previous election.
Well, I'm glad you said it and I didn't. I think that that's absolutely true. You can't just talk to black people when you need them. You have to let black people know you are engaged. And I think it's time that we really look at some of these people's records. We have a 40-year record for Bernie Sanders. 40 years. And I would like for someone to tell me what he did while a member of Congress and or the Senate that specifically helped black people or poor people. I'd like an answer to that question.
Well, we're going to try to get one.
All right.
All right.
Good.
Congresswoman Fudge, I appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you. It's always good to see you.
All right. Thanks so much.
All right.
All right, folks. Let's talk about all of that, unpack it with our panel. Dr. Greg Carr, Chair of the Department of Afro-American Studies at Howard University. You already heard Barbara Arnwine, founder of the Transformative Justice Coalition. Also, Dr. Cleo Monago, social-political activist and analyst as well. And even though she's here on the SNAP conversation, you know she's going to have something to say. So might as well go introduce Janice Mathis, Executive Director, National Council for Negro Women. Obviously where we stand when it comes to the furlough, do you believe there will be a deal here? Or is it smart for Democrats to stay holding out? You have 6 Republicans who cross in the Senate. They are also getting pressure from constituents. And Trump, Fox News is going to keep telling him, Fox and Friends is going to keep saying, Lou Dobbs will keep telling him, Sean Hannity, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. I think it's going to have to take either them more crossing or somebody finally wake up and go, wow, we can actually overturn a veto.
Yeah, and they can. I mean, as you said, the measure, the Democratic measure passed 52-44, like you said, with the 6 crossing the aisles. What struck me as interesting, and it ties into what the conversation you just had with Congresswoman Fudge, Johnny Isaacson from Georgia was one of the ones who crossed the aisle. They know demographics. What you brought up in terms of California, early voting, the world has changed. And you can't keep running this MAGA, Make America Great, white supremacy thing and hold on. The wheels have come off that. And slowly, when I see Isaacson crossing, and then Ted Cruz gets jumped on by Bennett from Colorado and said, yeah, man,
oh my God, that was lovely.
Brother, I'm saying this thing now.
That was lovely.
It's falling apart. I mean, we want to say something about it, but it was crazy. Yeah.
Don't talk, Barbara.
Well, listen, I believe that it's going to get resolved in the next couple of weeks because...
Weeks or days?
Weeks. Well, possibly days. Because look at the polling numbers. I mean, this is really hurting this man. He's lost 8 points on disapproval. He's gone down lower into the 32% range. Come on, folks. I mean, and we see that this is very unpopular with the American public because people forget it's not just 800,000 people, everybody. It's 4 million additional folks who are affected daily by the federal government who rely on those wages of those 800,000. So people get it wrong. We're losing $1.2 billion every week behind this shutdown. Tomorrow, it will be $6 billion lost dollars. So this is serious. There's no doubt about it. This thing is going to get resolved. And he's not going to get his racist wall.
Yeah, I think it's going to be resolved soon as well. And I think that the reason he said that he will support the meeting between those two, Schumer and McConnell, so when they make the decision to stop this, it won't be him failing. It'll be him supporting that those two had a conversation and they came to a conclusion. Because if Trump is nothing else, he's slick, though he's crazy. But I don't agree with Dr. Carr regarding the wheels falling off of white supremacy. I think that the wheel of the optic lens and being concerned about how things look, which is why Steve, what's his name? What's the white supremacist, Steve something?
Steve King.
Said the stuff he was saying, because he still got a Hitler hat, but he took it off for a few minutes to try to save his butt. And they're going to be, they're saving their butts. And they also have people who are part of their constituents who are suffering. But like the farmer who said, with his cows dying and the wheat turning red, and he said, I still support the man. And that's how a lot of them feel.
Well, I don't think you can underestimate what Marsha Fudge was saying about race. We still got a race problem in this country. If you don't believe it, what was the young boy doing who stood in the face of the Native American man who was trying to calm him down, and he's staring him down? That looked like white superiority to me.
Hell, you just had, of course, on Monday, the white folks in Miami who pulled a gun out on the teens.
Oh, wow.
And in fact, the white woman who lost her mind, who was screaming, he ran over my foot with his bike, she got fired from her job. See, I keep telling y'all crazy-ass white women. I keep telling y'all, keep letting white folks lose their mind. They will end black unemployment. Every time one of these white folks lose their job, a group of black people should immediately send their applications in the next day once they get fired. So white folks, y'all keep losing it, keep acting a fool against black people, and y'all keep getting fired. Y'all gonna take care of black unemployment all by yourselves.
I think.
Go on, Janet.
I was just thinking, in addition to what's going on with the 800,000 who actually work for the federal government, I work down in Penn Quarter. You got expensive, fancy restaurants closed because there's nobody there to come. So now you got people working for tips and taxi drivers and Uber drivers. This thing is spreading like a contagion. So we better hope. I was posting today, call Mitch. Tell him that we need to put the government back at work. The miracle that is PG County and places like DeKalb County in Georgia where Negroes are doing fairly well economically, that could go up in smoke with about another month of this no wages.
And of course, obviously, we talk about what's happening with SNAP, how people are being impacted. And so, I mean, you're talking about 30 million
people. That is the misnomer. Wow. 1 out of every 10 Americans is a SNAP or food stamp recipient. And so we painted it in this sort of, it's some black folk get and they lazy and they the 40% that don't believe that. Your neighbors and friends, look around. Somebody you know is a SNAP recipient. Absolutely. They sent out the food stamps early for February, sent them out the middle of January. And you know us, we got something extra. We figured that, we're going to get it again and again and again. So some of us spent them early. Some of us might have sold them. And so now you got a 40, 50, 60-day gap between when you got your stamps in January for February and when you may or may not get your March stamps. But you're talking about a huge number of people. It's 700,000 SNAP recipients in Kentucky. Mitch, they need to call him.
Greg, you talked about this quite interesting discussion on the floor of the United States Senate. You had Senator Ted Cruz. You want to talk about hypocritical, of course, and he got blasted today. There's really amazing back and forth with Senator Michael Bennett as well, because he was jamming up Ted Cruz about the government shutdown. And, Bennett just got a little tired, What did Trump call him? Lying Ted? He got a little tired of Ted Cruz forgetting the BS that he has pulled. And so, y'all, check this out.
Oh, wow.
Right now.
A clean bill paying the salaries of every man and woman in the Coast Guard is for the Democratic senators to withdraw their objection. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Thank you.
Madam President.
Senator from Colorado.
Madam President, I seldom, as you know, rise on this floor to contradict somebody on the other side. I've worked very hard over the years to work in a bipartisan way with the presiding officer, with my Republican colleagues, but these crocodile tears that the senator from Texas is crying for first responders are too hard for me to take. They're too hard for me to take. Because when the senator from Texas shut this government down in 2013, my state was flooded. It was underwater. People were killed. People's houses were destroyed. Their small businesses were ruined forever. And because of the senator from Texas, this government was shut down for politics. Then he surfed to a second place finish in the Iowa caucuses. But we're of no help to the first responders, to the teachers, to the students whose schools were closed, with a federal government that was shut down because of the junior senator from Texas. Now, it's his business, not my business, why he supports a president who wants to erect a medieval barrier on the border of Texas, who wants to use eminent domain to build that wall, who wants to declare an unconstitutional emergency to build that wall. That's the business of the senator from Texas. I can assure you that in Colorado, if a president said he was going to use eminent domain to erect a barrier across the state of Colorado, across the Rocky Mountains of Colorado, he was going to steal the property of our farmers and ranchers to build his medieval wall, there wouldn't be an elected leader from our state that would support that idea. Which goes to my final point. How ludicrous it is that this government is shut down over a promise the President of the United States couldn't keep. And that America is not interested in having him keep. This idea that he was going to build a medieval wall across the southern border of Texas, take it from the farmers and ranchers that were there, and have the Mexicans pay for it, isn't true. That's why we're here.
God damn.
You know, interesting.
Ain't nothing like a fired up white man.
There's obviously no video from the 19th century. But you imagine those battles on the floor of the U.S. Senate.
Yes.
John C. Calhoun.
Yes.
You know, getting caned and keep him getting caned. Stephen Douglas.
Yes.
My man keep jamming his hands in his pockets. You're right. They've had enough. This thing is not ever going to be the same.
And this is not like, okay, it's not like he does this all the time.
Right.
No.
I mean, because can you imagine this being like laid back,
all
man?
came out.
Ted Cruz talking, you like it. This
right.
Okay.
You saw Derek Jones with his hand on his Derek Jones was like, oh.
You know what I'm saying? He was like, he say this shit one more time. I'm gonna cuss his. And it's like and it's right to have Ted Cruz of all folks
Hypocrite.
talk about shutting the government down.
Yes.
And the BS he pulled when Obama was in there. Sit your ass down with that damn beer.
Right.
I mean, that's all it is. It's stupid.
You don't like his beer?
Hell no, I don't like his damn beer.
Trying to grow a chin, man.
But now you gotta-
I'm a voter from Texas and I ain't vote for his ass.
Right.
But you gotta admit that this shutting down the government plays into this conservative ideology narrative about smaller government by any means necessary, apparently.
Oh, no question.
If we have to shut it down, we'll shut down New Orleans, we'll shut down Puerto Rico.
Right, but here's the deal though. See, this is what I keep trying to say to all these broke white folks out there.
Yep.
Okay, they love talking about, smaller government until, like he just said, when a town get flooded.
Yes.
Okay, let's talk about where New Jersey was when Christie was governor. When he hugged Obama on the tarmac. Why? Because he was bringing money with him. I mean, that's the deal. Everybody loves talking about, I don't want government in my life until your ass need government in your life. and so that's why I'm like, don't even try that nonsense, because it happens with natural disasters. Yeah. It happens when you have other calamities. And but what's the first thing folks do? Where were y'all? What you gonna do for us? We need your help. Let somebody steal money, embezzle, and take their property. What you gonna do? Those same folks in those red states, it's the same thing. And that's why I don't want to hear all that government crap.
But isn't that the hypocrisy of it? That they've been deluded into voting for people who don't represent them? Mississippi, Arkansas, Kentucky, poorest states in the country, continue to elect these so-called small government conservatives. They're taking a hatchet and cutting off the nose to spite the people.
Hell, it was crazy in Kentucky when they voted they elected a Tea Party governor.
Sure did.
Voted for Trump, and I never forget, 4 days after the election, it was some old broke white woman, about 5 teeth, and she's...
You didn't say that.
I sure hope they don't take out Affordable Care Act. I said, dumbass, you just voted for 2 people who absolutely want to take the Affordable Care Act.
Well, that's why I say I just can cross the aisle. Georgia's demographics are changing. He reading the writing on the wall. It isn't just Susan Collins in Maine. As these demographics change, I agree with you, Doc. They're not going to peel off all these hardcore races. But that number, as you say, Barbara, you're talking about 30% now. You're in the 30s. Meaning what? Can you eat that whiteness? No.
And 70% of people are saying they're against this thing. I mean, the other thing is, this is red, white, and blue, folks. I'm sorry, but a huge percentage of SNAP recipients, food stamp recipients, are veterans.
Wow.
Let's get this straight.
Okay, now you know they only care about veterans
and military people. Military.
Now we know they only care about them for photo ops.
If they cared about them, they wouldn't send them to Iraq 8 times in a row without no release.
Everything.
But the white supremacy system and intention
Yes.
has always ridden on an experimental model that transforms based on the current context. Yeah. And I don't got time to get into all of that, except to say that when they voted for Trump, they were being white, crazy, subjective, self-serving, race-obsessed. They weren't thinking about, and some of them still aren't thinking about the logical outcome of voting for somebody who's Donald Trump. Now, some of them, based on circumstance, are going to say, we made a mistake. Some of them, even with 3 or 4 teeth, going to say, maybe I should second guess my psychosis. But be clear, once they realize what this experiment really means and the dust clears, the earth they're still going to be white supremacists.
Now, let's talk about, again, how folks who just don't care. Y'all, check this out. This is what Commerce Secretary Wilbur Ross. Now, first of all, the script said he's a billionaire. He ain't a billionaire. His ass was lying like Trump. Okay? The folks at Forbes busted him. He worth about $600-700 million, maybe, but he ain't a billionaire. And so this fool, matter of fact, this is exactly why we created this segment on the show.
Stupid!
The brain was canceled.
Y'all like that? Play it again.
Stupid!
Stuck on.
Okay, play it one more time.
Stupid!
All right, so y'all, this was Wilbur Ross on TV today.
There are reports that there are some federal workers who are going to homeless shelters to get food.
Well, I know they are, and I don't really quite understand why, because, as I mentioned before, the obligations that they would undertake, say a borrowing from a bank or a credit union, are in effect federally guaranteed. So the 30 days of pay that some people will be out, there's no real reason why they shouldn't be able to get a loan against it. And we've seen a number of ads from financial institutions doing that.
Y'all,
I didn't
test that man for dementia
No question.
or Alzheimer's. I don't know what the hell he was talking about.
Yeah.
I don't know why they're going to food bank. Y'all just can't go to a credit union and get a loan.
Right.
Credit unions are not on every corner, Wilbur.
Duh.
What the
And even
hell?
if they were.
What the hell?
Lonely.
Now hold up.
Interest-free loan?
Nancy
exactly.
Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi. Clapback queen.
Thank you.
She responded.
She definitely
yes.
clapped back queen.
What do they have? They have Wilbur Ross saying he doesn't understand why. When he was asked about people going into food lines and pantries and the rest, he says he doesn't understand why they have to do that. I don't know, is this the let them eat cake kind of attitude, or call your father for money, or this is character building for you. It's all going to end up very well, just as long as you don't get your paychecks. I don't quite understand why, as hundreds of thousands of men and women are about to miss a second paycheck tomorrow.
All right. Guess who also stuck on stupid? Dumbass Eric Trump's wife, Laura Trump.
Yes, indeed.
Listen to what this fool had to say.
So in terms of the workers who are coming to work and not getting paid, what would you say to them?
Listen, it's not fair to you, and we all get that, but this is so much bigger than any one person. It is a little bit of pain, but it's going to be for the future of our country, and their children and their grandchildren and generations after them will thank them for their sacrifice right now. I know it's hard. I know people have families, they have bills to pay, they have mortgages, they have rents that are due, but the president is trying every single day to come up with a good solution here. And the reality is it's been something that's gone on for too long and been unaddressed, our immigration problem. If we do nothing right now, it's never going to get fixed. This is our one opportunity. So I would just tell them, please stay strong. We appreciate everything that you're sacrificing. We are behind you, and we're going to do everything we can. I know the president is doing everything he can to resolve this quickly.
That's great. It's great.
Hook.
I see why.
Do y'all know how bad I want to cuss her out? That was the absolute dumbest and stupidest thing you've ever heard in your life. Oh, but Larry Kudlow topped her dumbass.
Oh, really? Somebody topped her?
Somebody topped her.
Without pay volunteering.
They're coming to workers, they're showing up.
That's not volunteering if you're forced to work without pay and you don't show up, you lose your job. So that's not volunteering. That's not what volunteering means.
You know what? I'm not even going to go there. You know what I'm saying. It's very clear. And you know what else? With respect to people who do have financial hardships, as someone was asking, they are coming to work and giving them the same 24/7 work they always did. And I will say to you, whatever semantic game you think you're going to play with me, and I'm usually an easygoing guy, give them credit. Okay? They honor us. They honor us by their service. I don't care whether you're a Republican or a Democrat. I mean that sincerely. They honor us. Democrats have shut government down, all right? But you know what I'm saying. They honor us. And they do it because of their love for the country and the office of the presidency and presumably their allegiance to President Trump, but whatever, they're doing it. Give them some credit. You know, there's a lot of wonderful people in this country. There are a lot of wonderful people in this country, especially some of these young. I've become a great fan of the millennials.
Let me tell y'all something. I can't deposit none of that bullshit he just said.
Right.
Not a single word can you take to the bank.
That's right.
And say, look at here, I need to pay my car note, my mortgage, and buy me some food with the words Larry Kudlow just said. Oh, and then try to get indignant to Jonathan Karl. You give them some credit. Oh, hell no. How about a check?
Right.
How about a check?
Right.
This is truly the most brain-dead administration. They are a bunch of rich white folks who do not care about regular, ordinary people who are black, who are white, who are Latino, who are Asian, who are Native American. They are arrogant. They fly their private planes. They take their vacations to all kinds of different places. Don't care. Trump tries to play the game. I'm in the White House by myself. Yeah, but your wife hopped on the government plane and flew her behind down to Florida to kick it for a few days when she should have kept her behind at the White House during the government shutdown. And that's what we got going here. And all these fools out here who keep riding with them, wearing them stupid-ass red hats, okay, y'all the ones who also going broke.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
but remember, when I go on Twitter, what kills me is all these folks, mainly white folks, saying that they're so upset because Trump is hurting the wrong people. Hurting the wrong people. That they never expected, that they're mad that they voted for him because they never expected he would hurt them.
Right.
He's hurting the wrong people. Listen, Roland, I got choices now of anywhere to park because the garages are empty. The elevators, I can just get any elevator because there's nobody in my building. I mean, this is horrible. People are not showing up. Our skies are unsafe, everybody.
I'm telling you right now.
Our skies are unsafe.
But here's the real deal. And I know, for instance, my man Joe Madison, he said the TSA workers in Atlanta the day after the Super Bowl should not show up to strand everybody in Atlanta. Now, y'all, all the billionaires, they're going to be at the head of their private planes, so trust me, they'll get out. But here's the real deal, okay? And then the workers are showing up. The real deal is all 800,000 should say, we ain't coming tomorrow.
That's right.
Part of the challenge is when I heard Keisha Lance Bottoms on TV the other day saying they're opening the lines at 3 a.m. on Monday morning for that very reason, because they know they're going to be delays. What about those air traffic controllers?
Right. No. But what I'm saying, is the way you send. I'm telling you right now, this federal government shuts down if the air traffic controllers say we ain't rolling up tomorrow.
Oh no.
If you ground flights across America, make America look like it did on 9/11.
Right.
Yes.
That's what happened.
Trust me. They will immediately go and end this sucker.
Absolutely.
And so the workers, they've got to utilize their power to say that in order to challenge this. Because, again, Donald Trump is going to keep playing games. He is going to keep playing games here. The Republicans, they passed the resolution talking about all praises due Donald. And so they're going to follow him in every turn. If those workers, if the air traffic controller workers and the TSA workers say, yo, y'all figure out how to fly without us.
Right.
Yo, I'm telling you, this thing shuts down.
That's right.
I got to pick up on this story here I got to deal with because there's an article in GQ that was done on Bernie Sanders, Senator Bernie Sanders. A very long article talking about him running, of course, for president. Here we go to my iPad. And so here's a paragraph from the story. It says, in a Democratic Party that is increasingly deriving its energy, not to mention its votes, from minorities and women, Sanders remains a critic of identity politics and a firm believer that issues of race, while important, are not as salient and determinative as those of class. Quote, there are people who are very big into diversity, but whose views end up being not particularly sympathetic to working people, whether they are white or black or Latino, he said. My main belief is that we need to bring together a coalition of people, of black and white and Latino and Asian American and Native American, around a progressive agenda which is prepared to take on an extraordinarily powerful ruling class in this country. That is my view. Many of my opponents do not hold that view, and they think that all that we need is people who are candidates who are black or white, who are black or Latino or woman or gay, regardless of what they stand for, that the end result is diversity. He hastened to add that, quote, diversity is enormously important, but there was a bigger goal, quote, to change society and create an economy and a government that work for all people. Now, let me unpack this and properly deconstruct it. Senator Bernie Sanders has been a consistent and frequent critic of what he terms identity politics. He talked about it a lot in 2016, and since the election of 16, in 2017, in 2018. This article came out this interview was done in October. It's just coming out in issues right now. Magazines typically have a 3-month lag when it comes to these issues. Here is the problem, which I have, just so y'all know, I have personally told Senator Sanders this to his face. The fundamental issue that I have with him is that he has a flawed argument when he talks about identity politics. Just for all y'all to understand, identity politics was a phrase derived by white Americans out of the 60s, of the civil rights movement, some call the Black Freedom Movement. Yep. The phrase identity politics came about because white Americans were saying, how dare y'all demand, quote, special treatment, when in fact, black folks were not demanding special treatment. What black folks were saying is, no, give us the same rights as y'all got under the United States Constitution. So what they did is, by black people demanding to be able to go sit in hotels and live and sleep in them, demanding to go into restaurants, demanding to swim in swimming pools, demanding to walk in parks, demanding to ride a bus without having to sit in the back, demanding to be treated as a full American, whites called it identity politics. So as a result, since the 60s, anytime black people have been demanding equal rights under the law, it's been phrased as identity politics. Then, of course, everybody else saw that. Other groups that were oppressed, women, Latinos, gays and lesbians, said, hey, wait a minute. We also have had the government, power of the government being used against us. And so white critics said identity politics. Senator Bernie Sanders is literally using the same language as the critics of the Black Freedom Movement. And the reason that's problematic is because politics, by its very nature, is established along identity politics. You want an example? I got one for you. If they say in politics, soccer moms, who the hell is that? They ain't talking about Barbara. They ain't talking about Janice. Soccer moms in America are defined as white women who live in the suburbs whose kids play soccer. Y'all want another one? NASCAR dads. Okay? They ain't talking about Cleo. They ain't talking about Greg. Nope. They ain't talking about me. Nope. They're talking about white men who wrap themselves in the flag, who are largely conservative and Christian, who watch NASCAR. Politics is about fragmenting an audience and appealing to different people. I can go down the line the phrases that pollsters and consultants have used over the course of history to determine how we reach people. 1960, John F. Kennedy. Why was he so not sure how I'm going to talk about civil rights? Why? Because he did not want to offend white Democratic Southerners who were racist because he needed their votes in order to win. That's why he was skittish. That, folks, is identity politics. What Bernie Sanders is going to have to learn is that if you think you're going to get black votes, you cannot keep using the same language that white critics have used against black people for demanding what is right. Now, when you talk about being right on the issues, Senator Sanders, we absolutely want candidates who are right on the issues. But what you need to understand is that this is the first time in America, definitely since Reconstruction, where you've actually had 4 black United States senators. You haven't had that. You had Deval Patrick, who was a 2-term governor in Massachusetts, who was considering running. Eric Holder, former attorney general, is considering running. To have 2 or 3 or 4 black folks actually running for president is a major thing. So when Bernie Sanders says, my critics, what they're saying is, oh, all we want is black or somebody who's gay or women. No, Bernie, what America is saying is that we have had to look at white men like you for eternity. Do you know how many white men have served on the Supreme Court? In American history? Bernie, I want you to walk into the United States Senate and stand there and say, damn, there's a whole bunch of white men in here. Bernie, go into Fortune America, Fortune 500 companies. You're going to see a sea of white men. So, Bernie Sanders, I understand that you believe that you're right on these issues and other folks are not advocating these issues. But you need to also understand, working class is an identity politics phrase. Real America is an identity politics phrase. All of this, Bernie Sanders, is all the language of politics. And so when you come in moralizing as if somehow I am greater than this, and this thing really isn't about race, it's more about class, that also is nonsensical, Bernie, because class is also about race. Because if you begin to break down where folks live and where they work, Janice earlier talked about why African Americans respond so differently to a government shutdown, because the percentage of black folks who work in government is much higher because we've been frozen out of corporate America all these years. There's a reason why black people lost so much during the previous times when Republicans shut down government on the federal level and the state level, when they cut those jobs, because more black people are operating with 6-figure jobs in politics and government, because government was seen to be more fair than corporate America. And so, Bernie, why are you out here talking about race and class? You need to understand that America still is making decisions based upon race, and race is driving class. Now, I know this interview took place in October, and I know that you were in South Carolina, and you were there when Senator Cory Booker was there, and you made some comments talking about racism in America on Monday. But if you continue with this crusade by trying to trash identity politics, let me be real clear. You will never get the Democratic nomination for president, because black people, when they hear you criticize identity politics, what they're actually hearing is you criticizing black people fighting for advancement. A suggestion from me, you might want to take that out your vocabulary, because if you continue to use it, I can guarantee you, you will not be facing Donald Trump in 2020. Just saying. Gotta go to a break. I'll be back. I'm Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Each person has a literature inside them. Actor Anna DeVere Smith.
HBCU Giving Day, our university. Pull the graphic back up, please. Is J.F. Drake State Technical School, founded in 1961. Of course, J.F. Drake State Community and Technical College is a combination community college and technical trade college in Huntsville, Alabama. If you want to support them, go to drakestate.edu. All right, folks, to keep their accreditation, Bennett College must raise at least $5 million by February 1st. So far, they have raised about a third of that amount, according to their website. Many folks have been coming to their aid. Of course, folks like Jesse Smollett and other entertainers will be talking about staying with Bennett. But things are also looking up in that today they announced they received their largest donation to date, from the CEO of Papa John's. Papa John's Foundation has given them $500,000. Now, keep in mind, of course, the founder of Papa John's was run out of the company as a result of him using the N-word and, of course, his comment saying that his stock price was hurt because of those brothers who were protesting in the NFL. Well, that didn't sit too well, and so the company ran him out. They've been going through this major brand makeover, and so we're glad to see that Papa John's is providing, of course, $500,000 to Bennett College, and so way to go. But we also be having the president of Bennett College on the show tomorrow to talk about what they're doing when it comes to raising these dollars. Also, folks, let's talk about this story. Speaking of snatching dollars, Curtis Anderson is the former finance director of Kappa Alpha Psi. My man reportedly embezzled $1 million of the fraternity's money. That wouldn't happen to Alphas. Okay, suspicions.
Where's Scott?
I had to throw that in. I'm sorry. Where's Scott Bolden over this? Suspicions arose in early December when one of their banks reached out to Kappa Alpha Psi's executive director to report suspicious activity on the fraternity's bank account. Investigators say that the executive director and their national president confronted Anderson. In fact, actually, check this out. So the national president and the ED were in the bank. Unbeknownst to the brother, he was showing up at the bank. No. If a man walked to the bank, saw them, was like, and he turned right back and went back out. Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
No, sir.
Yes, he did. So then what happened was that they called him on the phone and said, brother, you need to come back up in here. So he came back in there. And so what they discovered is that he was writing these checks and was taken from different accounts. And actually was about $1.3 million. He said he had an alcohol and a gambling problem. The fraternity fired him 3 days later. I don't know what took 3 days.
Right.
And so out of a lot of money, no word of whether or not they're going to prosecute him as a result of this. Now, let's talk about a crazy white woman and see, crazy white people. This is what happens when y'all crazy white women do stupid stuff. Evanston, Illinois, a 2015 graduate student at Northwestern University. The brother was attempting to, fix his own car on the streets of Evanston, Illinois. White woman driving by thought, oh my goodness, he's trying to steal his car. She called the cops. Wow. Get better. She follows my man.
Oh, come on.
In her car. What? Now watch what happened. The woman's voice at the end of the tape is the woman who called the cops. Hit play.
Hold here.
All right. I got my...
Stop resisting. Stop resisting. Sir, you're on video. All right. As FYI. All right. Fine. I got cuffs. Yes, this is my vehicle, sir. I was trying to fix something on the roof. Okay. I have evidence to that end. Well, when we tell you to get down, you got to get down. Yes, man. Sir. I understand. Okay. Now, why am I being put in the handcuffs? We got to verify the car is not stolen, man. This is E4. I'm a PhD student at Northwestern University in the Department of Materials Science and Engineering. I purchased this vehicle January 23rd, 2015 from Libertyville Chevrolet. I have all the evidence. Ask who are registered to. Myself. You're registered. 7-3. 370. Can you tell us who the plate registers to? I don't know why I'm doing that. I didn't matter. I gave you orders. This was Detective Lawrence Crosby, 507 William Parker. Yes, you did. No, I did not. There is something called the Fifth Amendment. No. Okay. That doesn't apply. Yes, it does. No, reasonable search and seizure. Why? Hey, what's up?
Hi, I called.
506. Okay.
It looked like he had a bar in his hand and was trying to jimmy it open.
Okay.
I feel really I didn't mean to racial profile, just like.
Oh yeah, no.
Like that, and I don't want to like.
All right, man, just calm down.
I didn't mean to racial profile. Your ass just cost the city $1.25 million. Lawrence Crosby, who was then a 25-year-old engineering doctoral student.
Nice.
Yes, Lawrence has gotten a check for more than $1 million.
My man.
But again, this is six plus cops show up.
Right.
Brother could have been killed.
Yes.
Because his white woman thinking and what he was doing is, she said, oh, it looked like he had a bar. No, he actually was fixing the molding or something that was on his car. He was fixing that.
Well, I just want to, what was going through my mind, because I used to work in law enforcement, is that, and I've said it before, thank goodness for video. Because a lot of brothers go through that and they don't live.
Right.
And we don't hear about them.
That's
and people even driving by, I'm talking about including black people, go, subconsciously, he must have done something.
That's right.
Yep.
And they're gotten rid of, and we move on to the next thing. So it's a good thing that he lived through that, but I want people to remember that this is the one that made national attention or attention of your show. Many of these cases we never even hear about. I go to local communities all the time and hear about these kind of incidents.
And what I keep saying to these folks, y'all are costing taxpayers money.
Yes.
When we talk about police brutality, the exact same thing. Oh, speaking of that, punk-ass Sheriff David Clark.
Not him.
Mr. Fake-ass Meadows himself.
Not him. Not him.
Let me, since we talking about costing people money, I was on Ryan Grimm's page a little bit earlier, and apparently, punk-ass David Clark. 4 people died in Sheriff Clark, his jail.
That's right.
Yes.
He was still the sheriff.
That's right.
One of them died because they withheld water from him.
Yes.
Also, there was a baby that died in his jail. Now, he running around here, always running his ass on Fox News, talking about law enforcement, how nobody respects law enforcement. But whenever something go down, like these cops here, he doesn't say anything. Well, I was reading a story earlier, and I retweeted it. Apparently, they are very close to a $6 million settlement as a result of that man dying in the jail there. And the point that I keep raising is that these things happen, and you don't hear the fiscal conservatives
Never
talking about how this is costing taxpayers.
That's right.
When New York has spent nearly $500 million in settlements. Chicago, same thing.
Yes.
You never hear, where's Grover Norquist and all the tax people saying how this is grossly unfair, the amount of money is costing cities for these settlements.
And this week, Roland, it came out, I don't know if people saw it, but it came out right after MLK Day that there are more city police departments now saying that they're not going to use body cams anymore.
Oh, right. Sure. All the cars, the store, saying that the cost of the cameras and having to store all this video is just, you know, it's just. Say it again, Janice.
Just too much truth.
They want to get away from
and too many bears to murder.
Right.
Is what's really going on.
At the end of the day, whether you get $1.3 million, you settle for $6 million, you can't bring a life back.
That's right.
And this brother, I mean,
he's gonna be traumatized.
As a black man, I think about myself, black women. When you get stopped by the police, you never really recover from that. The idea, so I don't know how much money they wrote for that brother.
That's right.
He got kneed in the back. He's on the ground. He's never
outrageous.
Going to. And you know what? United States of America, as it crumbles, I really can't find myself feeling bad because we are surveilled every day. I'm serious. I mean, let them feel this pain. I'm like Martin Luther King. We need to redistribute this pain because that's too much.
Well, people forget the speech that was found in Dr. King's pocket that he was going to deliver was called "Why America is Going to Hell."
On the hell.
Why America is going to hell.
That's right.
And what the problem with Bernie Sanders, I mean, I really hate that he's running because if he's going to misuse his platform and not talk about white structural racism, he's doing a disservice to every American.
Well, he's not going to talk about white structural racism and then complain about identity politics at the same time.
Right.
That's what
I'm saying. He's got to, I mean, he really needs to go through deep education.
I just want to give the name. Go to my iPad, please. This is the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel. The brother's name was Terrell Thomas. His estate is said they're going to receive about $6.7 million to resolve that case. And yeah, punk-ass David Clark was the sheriff, and he hasn't said jack about this. He's always trying to criticize Black Lives Matter, saying they don't care about black men being killed. You clearly don't care about black men being killed when one died in your jail when they deprived him of water. And Mr. Fake Meadows, you haven't said jack. and you want to come on this show and talk about it, bring your big-ass cowboy hat. I got lots of room for you on here. I had a conversation any day, Mr. Fake Metals. That's right.
And can I come to that?
Sure, not a problem. You can be here.
But see, he not
no
coming,
problem.
though.
We know he's not.
He ain't coming. But again, though, you're right. That's right. That's right.
But Roland,
That's right. Very simple, Sheriff Clark. Bring it.
I think it's
all you gotta do, Sheriff Clark. Real simple. Bring it.
I think it's important to make a correlation here. When these white jurors, or majority white jurors, are on these juries to make a decision around are we going to put the cop in jail for murdering a black person or not, they often find them not guilty and they want to becoming acquitted. And you mentioned earlier about the man with the hat, punk ass something, whatever his name is.
David Clark.
These people do not see black people as worthy of life and respect.
Right.
So they're willing to sacrifice these millions as long as the agenda stays in place.
But
they're not complaining.
Right. I just need white taxpayers to wake the hell up and go, yo, y'all costing us money. Sure.
Yes.
All right, folks, let me go to see Florida. And today, the Florida Secretary of State, the guy who was appointed to the position, Michael Erdel, he ain't got a job today, y'all, when these pictures of him surfaced from a private Halloween party 14 years ago. He was making fun of a survivor of Hurricane Katrina. Yep, dressed in blackface, and yep, his ass out of a job. He resigned, and the new Florida governor, Ron DeSantis, quickly accepted his resignation. Just talking about a couple of crazy white women at the University of Oklahoma. They tri-delts. Nope. They used to be tri-delts. They thought it was a good idea for one of them to put on blackface and the other one to film it. Press play.
Look at him.
Come on.
Look at him.
That graphic gonna be wore out.
Look at him.
Well, they used to be tri-delts and they used to be students at Oklahoma University. They don't walk their ass out the building.
Right.
The university and the sorority have apologized. 2 more places for African-American women. There are positions available at OU if y'all actually want to be able to do it. And a 6-second video recorded 2.5 years ago at the elite New York City private school Poly Prep Country Day School in Brooklyn. You know, right there, ain't there many black people there when they throw Country Day in there. The video has surfaced and is causing trouble for the school, as it should. Roll a tape of crazy white people. Well, on Friday, hundreds of students at the school walked out of an assembly, all dressed in black, and staged an 1.5-hour sit-in protest of this video. And here's what's amazing. When the video was made, the girls were in 6th grade. 1 student is no longer at the school, but 2 others are still there.
My goodness.
Ain't that something?
Come on, man.
I tell you,
y'all shocked?
No, we're not.
Nope.
No.
We're not.
Nope.
But clearly,
Nope.
Rollerbar Unfiltered is going to be soon renamed the Crazy Ass White People Video Show.
You got the right
All right,
graphic,
folks.
brother.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, folks. Of course, 2019, many of us out here trying to get ourselves fit, trying to get healthy, losing weight. That's why we want you to support one of the partners of our show, D Herbs, a black guy, Dr. A.D. Dolphin, developed this cleanse, which is a really, so there are 27 different cleanses, an herbal cleanse. And it's all about giving you more energy, keeping you from being sluggish. And again, if you want to lose weight, that's one reason you could do it. Also improve your overall well-being. Another reason you can also do it as well. So I'm on day 16, so I have 3 more days left of the 20-day cleanse. So it's been raw vegetables and fruits. That's it. So y'all like, damn, yeah, you ain't lying. Right. That's all it's been. But it's been going well. So I'll tell you on Monday how everything goes. And a lot of us, of course, the people were just eating like crazy during the holidays, and they want to get rid of all that processed food and fried foods. No, I didn't do anything. I did none of that. What's wrong with you? And so if you want to get rid of your toxic buildup, go to dherbs.com. Dherbs.com. Use the promo code ROLLIN. Dherbs.com. Use the promo code ROLLIN. Or you can call 866-4-DHERBS. 866-4-DHERBS. And again, the promo code is ROLLIN. So I want you guys to be sure to use that and support the folks who support this show. And that is D Herbs, their full body cleanse. They have 27 different cleanses. And so you can do a 3-day, a 10-day, a 20-day, all kind of different different ones. So go to their website, dherbs.com. All right, folks. That's it for today. Final comments. Janice, what you got?
Well, something struck me that Larry Kudlow said. He said we should give them credit because they're doing it for the love of the country. And I thought about which of our elected officials has demonstrated the least amount of love and loyalty for the country? The guy at the top. The guy at the top. You got to wonder whether or not he's a traitor to the country.
Cleo Monago.
I really appreciate the interview with Fudge, and I really appreciated your focus on that black men have felt alienated from this process and have not been attended to. And I'm thinking about what Kamala Harris is going to have to deal with when her husband comes from the backstage while she runs for president in terms of how black men are going to respond to that.
Okay.
Yes. Well, I just think that black people need to really just double down on our power. And that includes the strikes that we were talking about. Black federal workers can help use this power. We can't just let this man. The only person who loves this shutdown is called Vladimir Putin.
You think so?
Oh, absolutely. Who benefits? I mean, all our national security is down. Who benefits? Russia. Let's get clear, folks, about what this is.
I'll just say, I spent a lot of time at the Smithsonian museums, and when I saw that yesterday footage of this black woman, a security guard at one of the museums, saying that she's going to be evicted before she walked into Mitch McConnell's office. He's a feckless coward. And anybody that would do this to people who have to live from paycheck to paycheck. Forget not being an American and not being patriotic. These people don't have basic humanity. So we have no obligation to do anything other than oppose them in every way we can.
And in fact, this was a tweet that he sent out yesterday, Mitch McConnell. Here we go to my iPad. Enough political spite, enough showboating for the resistance. The president has produced a fair compromise that pairs full-year government funding with immigration policy priorities from both sides. It's time to make a deal. This is coming from the same guy who blocked Merrick Garland. This is the same guy who said that we're going to make sure that Obama is a one-term president. The reality is they don't care. They don't care about these workers. They don't care actually what the polling say. They only care about the having Donald Trump send a bad tweet about him. At some point, the Republican Party is going to have to wake the hell up and say, this man is crazy. But here's the reason why they won't say it. Because they know he's crazy, but he's giving Mitch McConnell all he wanted. And you know what that is? A largely white federal judiciary.
That's right.
What they have done is largely appoint white men. And when I say largely appoint, folks, when I say white men, it's like 88 to 90%. There's not been a single black woman, I don't believe a Latino, has been appointed. What they want is they want complete control of the federal court.
That's right.
For the next 40 years.
That's right.
And so they want to ensure that by 2043, when America is a majority nation, people of color, that there'll be federal judges who are right-wing and who are white, who are deciding the laws of this country.
That's right.
That's why Mitch McConnell is not going to buck Donald Trump. That's right. Folks, there's only one show like this on digital, on cable, on broadcast. Nobody keeps it real like we do. No one does it unfiltered. We want you to support us by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Tomorrow, at the end of the show, we're going to be, of course, running the video of all of our donors. We do that every single week because we want you to know who is out here supporting us. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans to contribute an average of $50 each for the whole year. That's $4 a month, about 13 cents a day. Why is that important? Because all the stories that we covered, all the interviews that we did, I can guarantee you, you're not going to see that. You got an all-black panel. I'm telling you right now, you are not going to see this on MSNBC.
That's right.
On CNN, on Fox News, on ABC, CBS, on any of these networks, unless it's a major black story, and they have no problem then finding black people. We know how to find black people every single day to talk about stuff every single day. But your dollars have to make it happen. And also, folks, we've got to fund our freedom. If you want us to cover this presidential campaign, to go on the road, there's going to be a CNN doing a big old town hall with Kamala Harris in Iowa. Well, guess what? We need to have town halls on HBCU campuses. We need to have town halls of just black men or town halls of just black women. And the only way that happens if you also support what we're doing. Those are our plans. We need you to help us. So go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com to make that thing happen. All right, folks, I shall see y'all tomorrow. Holla! You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Hey fam, want to check out Roland Martin Unfiltered, the blackest show on all of digital, cable, and broadcast. Check out our audio podcast. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Press play. You want to check out Roland Martin Unfiltered? YouTube.com/Roland S. Martin. And subscribe to our YouTube channel. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered. See that name right there? Roland Martin Unfiltered. Like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's YouTube.com/Roland S. Martin. And don't forget to turn on your notifications so when we go live, you'll know it.